Needless to say, I'm very disappointed in our effort. For whatever reason, the kids were out there like deer in headlights from the start of the game, and we were very well prepared as far as understanding what it is they like to do. Obviously, they love to go inside, and they like to press, and so the kids are really well aware of that. Watched a fair amount of film, talked about ways to beat the press. I think there was an understanding. It's hard to put my finger on exactly what happened out there regarding the psyche of the athlete when they're out there. I can tell you, I tried different methods: calm, not so calm, different lineups, and there's nothing that really seemed to jolt them. And even when we had the opportunity to press, we came down on those rotations there on the other end and we fouled. I think that's what's disappointing. I knew this game, for a lot of different reasons, was going to be a pressure game more so for them than it was for us. And trying to talk to your players about that sometimes can be difficult. They have 5 seniors, right? They were picked second. It was going to be her 200th win. For a player, a lot of times, you're not thinking of those types of things. You're just thinking about, okay, coach, what do I got to do so we can get the win? But when you're battling that type of emotion, that mindset, you're battling something else. So if you don't bring your A game against a rival, this is what happens. This is the result. I think that's the learning lesson from this. On top of that, I think this is Gerlich's first win, specifically against any of my teams. And so I clearly understood that. I knew from the beginning of the year this was going to be a tough game. This is truly my one game. Every coach has that one game that you just know. Like if you do not bring it, no matter what, no matter where you play, it's going to be tough. This was my one game. But the disappointment truly comes from that our kids just seem shell-shocked at times. And that's something that I've got to work on because now we're, with Kate, without Kate, with suspension, without suspension, we just haven't found a rhythm since all these things have happened. Now, granted, Kate just came back to practice, a day ago or so that could be part of the chemistry issues that we're having. But I truly think right now we need to find 2 or 3 kids that are going to work for us and rebound, because that's what it comes back down to for us. I think we can take care of some of the turnovers. We do a pretty decent job of settling too, maybe if we initially turn it over, but it's going to come down to who's going to do a good job for us in the paint. Because largely there have been games we've been able to stop people's better players from the perimeter, but we've just struggled in the paint. We've given career games to kids in the paint who aren't necessarily scorers, and those ones that are scorers in the paint, they've had field days on us. And, injury or not, we just got to figure out a way. I got to find a way to help these kids get to New Orleans, and that's the goal. That's the goal for us. So I'll open up for questions.
Last year, Kalia did a great job on Van Dyke. I think across the 3 games she was
for sure.
12
Watching film,
34.
I was missing Kalia. I was missing Kalia. I was like, Kalia, come back from California with your fiance, please. But I think she went on with life, graduated and whatnot. She still had that extra year. I was like, oh man, what if she would have stayed? But you're right. And so the plan was tonight was to do a good job of putting ball pressure on the ball, not allowing them to get easy looks. Okay, and those times that we could double, we tried to get in there and double. Sometimes with the way that she played it, it ended up being a point guard. It's a little toss or a little aerial had to be that backside help, and they're really good at shooting over the top of that. The other component was maybe we can go some 2-3, but they've done a great job of shooting, and I just didn't want to risk it, to be honest with you, in this type of a emotional game. So we stuck with in the first half doubling down. We tried to 3-quarter and throw some different looks at her, but clearly I think our kids understood that's what they do, and we clearly understood that. We were either late or it wasn't enough pressure that they got easy looks inside to Rebecca.
Do you attribute the lack of rebounding to an effort or just the size difference?
I think both, to be honest with you, Paul, because if you take a look at some of the other teams, if you take a look at a team, we're probably one of the smallest teams, to be honest with you, in the conference. But if you take a look at a team like Lafayette, they have just a little bit more size than us, not much. I think right now they just aggressively are getting after it. They maybe not be as skilled from an offense standpoint, but they bring it defensively. And we've done it before. We've done it before, and that's what I keep pointing to let them know. If we give great effort, we're going to be okay. I think the tough part is sometimes you just think everybody else is going to do it, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Shot goes up, I box out my man, or I miss my assignment. Somebody else is going to get it. Let's go run. Let's go run in offense. And that's not what's happening. So we have to do a better job of making sure they understand that when we watch self-film.
Is there something you can take from the second half? Because you matched them pretty much the second half. Is there something you could take positive from that?
I think the
play?
positive that I can take from that is I need to let go of some of my reservations regarding what I perceive as better rebounding matchups for us. When really and truly, if kids are just going to come in and scrap, then maybe we just run with that, even though there's a tremendous size difference. And I'll go back and watch film and see, Joe, if that's really the case. But I do think that they did try. They did try, and that's the thing about this team. They'll try. I just don't want them to feel like, you know what, they're just too big, coach, or you know what, and there's times, I get that, there's times that happens, but there's other times, man, if we get our hands on balls, if we would just snatch those balls up, we can do better.
When I'm looking at the scoring from the first half to second half, like Joe said, you're only down 3 there, or at least the paper I have is like 6 minutes remaining. But with that being said, what were the adjustments at halftime to try to spark your offense to get going? Because I mean, in the first half you were outscored by a lot of points. So.
Well, one of the things we did was we switched it up and we tried to put Caitlin Wall in the middle.
Okay.
Right. Because I still think there's a respect level there for her ability to be able to score.
Mm-hmm.
Kate struggled scoring even when we put her in the middle of the zone to kind of suck up defenses, kick out maybe for some shots, or her be able to penetrate, kick. Didn't work. She just, for whatever reason, she wasn't able to see it. And then I went with, Kiani Lurie. She's pretty shifty in the paint, being able to get in there to get to some looks and some kickouts as well. I think that the fact of the matter is that they scored, so they did a good job of slowing us down. And so when we came back, there was very little time on the clock, and our kids at times got tight on reversals.
It seemed like for a minute there, Erica had some pretty good looks from like 18 feet. Is that something you guys are looking for offensively?
Not necessarily. That's a shot that they always have, and that's what I told them. Listen, they're not. They got the players shooting that they want to shoot. I said it's not no offense, but we either knock down the shot or kick it back out and look for those teammates that are rising.
Yeah.
And so I think Erica's like, okay, coach, is that a challenge? I'm gonna knock down the shot, which would be great. If we can get consistent scoring, if we can get 8 to 12 points, in the paint, in the mid-range jumper, we're going to be a much better team.
Yeah.
That isn't a shot necessarily that we've hit as that core group. But with that being said, they've got to be able to hit that shot because we don't have very many back-to-the-basket type scores for us, and a lot of people are able just to sag in that paint. So if we have an off shooting night, that's what they're going to get. But they practice that shot quite a bit, Paul, so I'm really happy for her that she knocked it down. It's going to be important for her confidence long term.